My name is Lane. I'm 10 years old and I stutter. Sometimes I stutter because... My name is Lane. I'm 10 years old and I stutter. Sometimes I stutter and sometimes I don't. I don't know why. I wanted to make a film about stuttering because I want everyone to know it is okay to stutter. And this is my first film.
That's awesome. Do you want me to give your hand on time?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, sweet.
Not really, actually.
I hate wires. When are they gonna?
Yeah, I know. This is like a 20-foot wire.
When are they gonna?
One of the things I remember about Lane was when we went to Starbucks. It was one of the first times that I took him out for something, for a transfer session, and I told him that it was okay to stutter, and he didn't believe me and thought it was awful. And so I stuttered ordering my drink, and I just remember him looking at me, and his eyes were huge, and I think he thought the barista was gonna fall over or something was gonna happen because he just was frozen. He didn't know what was gonna happen. And I stuttered, and the guy took my order and everything was fine. And Lane he looked at me, and then he looked at the barista, and he looked at me, and he was just like, oh. And it wasn't until we sat down that he was like, you stuttered. I was like, yeah, and it was okay. He's like, yeah, but you stuttered. And it was just like a light bulb was going off on him that it was okay to stutter. And it was great.
The idea that there is this dichotomy between, what can be inside someone's head and potentially not being able to express themselves like the way, my friend was when I was younger and stuff. And the fact that, things can be be said perfectly in your head, but not quite come out. And I think it's really important that people understand that, I think.
Hi. My name is Alec, and I'm a freshman student at CU Boulder.
I'm David. I'm 16 years old and I do stutter.
My name is Dennis. I was in a meeting this morning and it was the old, let's go around the room and introduce ourselves. So saying Dennis was impossible this morning. The upside was that they remembered my name. So there you go.
I've had some adult clients that are afraid to talk in the workplace because they don't want their coworkers to know that they stutter.
My childhood was rough. Getting, kids don't have a sensitive button, so you get teased and you feel bad, and then you get teased some more and you feel worse, and you get teased some more and you're like, what now? So my childhood included me not participating in class. So my grades suffered because of that, not getting up and reading in front of the class or getting up speaking in front of the class and those things because I didn't want to get picked on. I was afraid because of my stutter. But it was part of my childhood.
I don't think there's really a good definition of stuttering because it changes with every person and every situation is different. So one person's definition of stuttering might not be another's.
So this is the speech machine. I think you might have seen it in my office a few times, but this is what we use to tell kiddos how stuttering works. So you're thinking about it in your brain, you know what you want to say. So you take a deep breath in your lungs, and it's coming up, coming up, coming up. Sometimes people get stuck here in their voice box area, or they sometimes get stuck up in their mouth. It depends on where they get stuck. It could be ba-ba-ba, or back here where it's called a block, down here, like that. So stuttering basically is we consider it the cessation of airflow or phonation. So it's when you turn your voice off or when you're not able to keep your breath on when you're talking.
So primary stuttering is just what it is. It's repetition, but it's relaxed. It's go. Secondary is the behavior that I adapted trying not to stutter. So I'm going that's like a stutterer's fingerprint. It's very individual.
Anyone can stutter. There is research out there that shows that more boys than girls stutter. People who have a family history of stuttering in the family tend to stutter more.
People who stutter are no less or less of a person or less qualified for anything in life. It's just a part of us, and I think we work even that much harder in life and in things that we want to do because of it.
I don't know if I've ever met a stutterer who wasn't a very nice person. So I think that it builds our compassion a lot to have experiences and just really struggling with something that most other people take for granted in life, because it's every day. This is an every day, every hour, every minute sometimes.
I think probably the strongest myth I get from parents is that we shouldn't talk about stuttering to kids. And I think that the parents have heard this often from the internet, from their doctors, from teachers, that if you just ignore it, it'll go away. My daughter stuttered severely as a 3-year-old, and my doctors told me, just ignore it, don't say anything. And ultimately what happens is when we don't acknowledge stuttering in kids, especially when they know that it's happening, is we're inadvertently sending the message that this is something that either we don't know how to help, we don't understand, we don't know the answers to it. And I think that can send messages to kids that can be kind of scary.
Because I'm not actually anxious usually. It's that my stuttering is not because I'm really nervous to be around them. It's just a part of my everyday.
Like maybe 2 years ago, maybe more, and I don't remember his name, but there was a man on
The Voice?
The Voice,
Mm-hmm.
I think. Was it The Voice?
Okay.
Who stuttered, and when he sang, he didn't stutter, and that's universal too. When you're singing, you're not going to stutter, and I think that kind of brought it up into, I don't know, I don't want to say like a pop culture thing, but people kind of saw that and latched onto it and was like, oh my gosh, well, if you can sing, then you won't stutter, so just sing. And that's doesn't solve anything. No one wants to go around singing their entire life. And if people are telling you to just sing instead of stutter, then you're kind of boxed into this, well, then I can only sing, so what else am I going to do?
Back in my day, when I was growing up, they didn't have special classes or special therapists in school for stutterers. You had to be marked as a mentally retarded student in order to get the special help from the school district. So that my mom actually had to claim that I was mentally retarded.
I had a little boy and his mom come in to see me one time, and she thinks that he started stuttering because he watched Barney too much. Yeah.
You know, there are times when you have a physical trauma, like traumatic brain injury, and those kind of things can cause people to stutter. But that's totally different than the kind of stuttering that most of us do.
Well, people accused me when I was growing up that my mind was working too fast. That's what they kept saying. I'm not sure that that's really how it works, but I also talk fast and think fast, and so the people use that appearance to blame my stuttering on that. So that was kind of funny.
If you shout, I was skiing yesterday. I didn't have any stuttering problems at all because the wind was blowing and I had to shout at my friends. So changing speech patterns helps, but you can't do that forever. So, you know, there are different things that you can do, but some of the mythical cures don't work. There is no cure.
I've heard a weird myth that stuttering is caused by dry lips.
Huh. So then chapstick is the cure, right?
Yeah.
Well, I myself don't really know why I stutter. I think it could be a number of factors because I know that it's hereditary and my dad has it, so I definitely got it from him. But in terms of the actual biological applications or things that actually go on inside of my throat, I can't really say why.
There's not always a trauma. There's not always an exact pinpoint that caused someone to stutter. Sometimes it's a gradual onset sometimes.
Do I have a stutter? Yes. Yes, I do. I've had it since I was a kid. I think I got it from my dad. I think it's hereditary.
My dad was also a person who stuttered, and my uncle is as well, and so I have reason to believe anyway that it's genetic in a lot of ways, and I probably just had the proclivity, you know, and it was triggered maybe, I don't know, really.
So I've always thought, you know, if I worked really, really hard, I could do better at this. But really, I mean, it helps to use techniques, but I'm hardwired to stutter.
There is no cause for stuttering. We don't know anything about that yet, but a trigger might be if someone is a little bit more nervous talking around new people, if they're learning new language. Those are combining factors that make someone trigger their stutter.
You know, if you're under a difficult, if the police stops you for speeding, there's every chance that your speech is not going to be real fluent. And so we do know that stress does play a role in stuttering. We know it's not the cause, but we know it can make it worse.
My stutter, it wasn't every word or every sentence, every phrase, but it would pop up when I didn't expect it and really annoy me. Like, I remember when I was, even as an adult, when I was ordering food at McDonald's, I could not say Egg McMuffin. I would get stuck on the McMuffin. I would just get stuck right there, and I could not order an Egg McMuffin. And I remember being really happy when McDonald's stopped using the names on their menu, and it gave just the names. And they also gave you the option of ordering by number, so I could just order a number 1, and that made it a lot easier for me to order.
I stutter more in Spanish because I don't have any excuses. In English, they will think, oh, you know, she forgot the word, or she doesn't speak English well.
It's very situational for me. In a social situation, I'm usually fairly fluent. Talking to authority figures is scary for me, and I stutter more.
Sometimes when I'm in front of large groups of people, like in a room, and I'm on the stage, and there's a podium, I get extremely nervous. Still to this day. So now if I can do like if I have something to do, I ask if I can sit down, because it makes me a little more comfortable in my surroundings, so I don't feel like everybody is bearing down on me.
It's honestly a lot easier when I feel I don't really have to be formal. Like I'm trying to be very casual, just about your conversation. I don't stutter nearly as much.
I think when I'm nervous, when I'm in a new situation, or I'm talking to someone that I really need to impress for my job or whatever, that can actually get me stuttering more, which is unfortunate because that's the time we want to stutter less. But that's what happens.
But sometimes I stutter so hard that once I actually banged a table trying to get a word out and like screaming, and I was like, ah! It was maddening.
Well, there are physical aspects of the feeling, you know, tightness in the vocal cords, tightness in the lips. The feeling, though, that is harder is the psychological feeling, the embarrassment. You would think that for as many years as I've been stuttering, that I wouldn't be embarrassed anymore, but I'm still embarrassed. Like this morning when I had to say my name in the meeting, it was embarrassing. I lost eye contact. All the things that we try not to do, I found myself doing.
It doesn't bother me. I don't think about it. I don't stop the conversation. I don't acknowledge it. I just keep it going. Like I said, it's a part of everyday life. I don't know if I stutter every day. I might go some days where I don't. Some days might be worse than others. I don't know, but it doesn't consume me as it did when I was a kid.
I think what I tell my kids a lot is it's okay to stutter, and it's also okay if you don't want to stutter. However you're feeling about it is really okay. So I don't want kids feeling ashamed or fearful of stuttering. If I have a kid who comes in here and they're stuttering basically all the time, but they're really okay with it and they like their speech and they want to talk that way, then that's great and that's okay for them. I don't have to say, oh, well, if you're not fluent, then you can't leave here until, you're 95% fluent 90% of the time. But if they come in and they really want and they don't like their speech, then it's okay to work on it. It's okay to help them.
We don't want parents requesting that kids speak differently or requesting that kids use speech tools a lot or having, some expectation for fluency. The best thing parents can do is just really listen.
Well, as I said before, like I had never really had to get in the way. Like it was never really like a point of shame for me. Honestly, until relatively recently, and when my close family really started like hounding me about it, and tell me and emphasize how much I needed to improve. Like really only then did I really start to actually feel like it was something wrong. And in all honesty, I really don't feel the way they do about it. I see it like as this flaw that has to be corrected, but I've just incorporated it into my own being.
The things that we teach you here, they're not a quick fix. They're supposed to be tools that you can use in the long run and in the long term.
I use tools that my speech teacher told me to. A stretch is you stretch on a sound, like stretch, and a bounce is where you repeat the first sound 2 times. It's like bounce.
I have a lot of blocks, and recently I've been having more repetitions, which is good because my goal is to stop pushing a lot and start doing more repetitions so that it feels like it's flowing and there's no stop in my speech.
My tools are stretchy speech, and it mostly happens when I'm at school, when I'm talking to my friends. And sometimes I get embarrassed when I'm trying to use my stretchy speech because they might laugh at me or look at me like I'm another person.
I have a bicycle and a chair. No match for me. Your turn.
I have a bicycle.
Oh, no way.
And a bicycle. I match. Hooey.
Okay, let me ask you. Do you want to keep up with bounces or are you ready to switch to some stretches?
I'm ready to switch to some stretches.
I thought you might be, okay?
The opposite way?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, I still have my bounces on. I'm sorry. Let me switch to stretches. Would you like to start or should I?
I will start.
Beautiful.
1.
I have a 1.
I have a 1. I have a 2. I have a 3.
And I discarded 12.
Thank you so much. I draw 2. I draw 2. I play my 10. I draw 1. I can't go, I just go to 7.
Nice stretching, bud. Keep your voice on.
And it's like learning techniques, like it helps. But I also feel that like for one thing, it's inappropriate to expect someone to use her techniques all the time, because it just puts more pressure on them and doesn't really, and it really doesn't do the person very much any real favors, because it just makes them feel pressure, which likely is just going to make them stutter more.
There's a thing, and I think it may have come from friends or some, I'm not sure where it came from, but it says, as a person who stutters, I teach the world to listen. It's probably not the direct quote, but that's about it. And I think it's so true, because it really does, when someone's stuttering and you're being a good listener to them, it teaches you to listen. It teaches you to slow down and pay attention to what they're saying, because they're spending so much more effort saying it that you know that what they're saying is important.
Well, I would just say, just be respectful, like try to understand how they're not doing it on purpose, and especially to understand that stuttering isn't a measure like of a person's intelligence or insecurity.
Treat the person who's stuttering like they're not stuttering. Maintain eye contact. Maintain a relaxed, respectful facial expression.
Oh, that people can listen to me instead of interrupt me.
Well, I think the main point I'd like to give to people who don't stutter about stuttering is that it's not a choice. Don't have a choice not to stutter.
How long is this going to take? 5 hours?
So I usually tell people not to finish my sentences and to let me finish them, because it's like an interruption. Now I just need more time, you know.
One of the most frustrating things is being told to slow down and take a breath.
Have patience with them, because we have something to say, or a statement, or an answer, or whatever it may be. So I think patience is the key.
It's a lot easier on a stutterer, if people just accept them the way they are. I mean, everybody has something wrong with them. Some are more obvious than others. Stuttering happens to be an obvious one. But everybody's got issues, and that just happens to be ours.
Once I learned about it, I was kind of scared, but now here I am, and I'm really kind of fine with it.
I didn't want him to grow up feeling like something was wrong with him and that he couldn't be like other people because he just has some speech problems.
Sometimes it's hard for everybody to talk. I think that's important, but I think also it is important to know that you can do anything you want, even though you may stutter.
When I've been open about my stuttering to other people, the main message that I've gotten is that it's no big deal, like they don't really care, which is really good, because in my head I've always treated it like a big deal, and to know that other people think that it's no big deal, that really helps me.
It's just the way you are?
Yeah, no, I think that one of the most important lessons I've learned about it in the last 4 years is how important it is to view it as just another way to speak, and that fluency doesn't have to be the goal.
Stuttering makes you feel good. You don't have to be embarrassed. You can stutter whenever you want. You can be free in your stutter.
And that it's not a problem to stutter. People make it a problem, but it's not a problem. It's a part of who we are. We all have something, and that's just I look at it as my special gift, you know what I'm saying, that I've received.
You know, I think it has made me more sympathetic, more empathetic, more humble. So it has certainly had some positive influences on my life.
Because I think that we realize, and I'm not sure when we realize this, but we realize that it is a blessing too. And that's really hard to say because of the challenges that it brings, but the people that we know and the speech therapists that we have are just amazing.
It's a special gift for me. We all are given something in life that we need to try to overcome or deal with, and I think that's my gift from God. That it's just one of those things. You know, it's not good, it's not bad. It's part of me.
After 50 years of being vulnerable in front of people every day, I'm finally starting to realize it makes me a much better human being, a better friend. I'm a lot more vulnerable, I'm a lot more compassionate.
It helped everybody else around me to slow down, and it has made me work harder and have a lot more patience and just have this perspective about life that involves struggling as a way of actually producing things that I want.
Be respectful and be kind. It really helps me. Because really, the bottom line is I stutter, and I'm always going to stutter. But my goal in life is to be happy. So if I can be a happy stutterer, life is good.
Just be you. Just be you. You can't be anybody else. Just be you, and keep it pushing. Live life. Have fun. Just don't let it consume you, because it is what it is. It's a gift. Accept it and be you.
Very first, I wanted to be an astronaut, but I thought that was too dangerous. Then I thought of a Jamal's a minor or something, but I also thought that was too dangerous. So I picked one I'm really good at, which is a musician right now. And yeah. Jamie and Miguel, Stutter,
Yay!
Clary, and Serena Armitage.
Oscar goes to Stutter.
Yes!